time for the John Emerald Distilling Coaches Show on the Columbus River Dragons Radio Network. Tonight's show is brought to you by John Emerald Distilling, Southern States Bank, BioLife Plasma, Midas Total Car Care, Vector Ply, and PMB Broadcasting. Now to catch you up on all things River Dragons hockey, let's start tonight's show with Zach DeBozart.
The Chattahooch's favorite place for
Thank you very much, Brian Thomas,
John Emerald
and
Distilling
welcome
Company in Opelika.
To the John Emerald Distilling Coaches Show here on the River Dragons Radio Network.
Manufacturing and distribution of composite reinforcement materials for any and all projects you might have.
We're figuring it out here. We're still figuring it out. I'm Zach DeBozart, Scott Brand, and Jerome Boom Boom Bichard are, of course, in here with us. Guys, how we doing today?
Big or too small for Vector Ply.
Doing well. Trying to sell some season tickets right now.
All right, yeah, it's been very busy. That's going to be the theme of this off season for sure. Scott, how you doing today?
That was an awful start. How long has it been since you've been on the air?
Scott, how long have you been here?
Are you still drunk from when we won the championship?
It's still a running joke how, every time it's just a little bit of a car crash every time.
No, that was a plane crash coming out of it. Anyway, when was the last time we were in studio?
We were in studio last. Wow, that's a good question.
Did it start with a 19? Was it like the 70s? Or something?
No. It was back in April though. It was back before we were getting ready for the Ignite Cup finals.
What happened during that time?
Well, that happened. That was
we won, I think. Didn't we?
You want to try to get
what happened?
There you go. See, that's okay. I told you to be over at that mic. I didn't know which one it was.
He was muted. That's kind of nice sometimes when he's muted over there.
Sometimes.
You know, my mom listens to the show. You're gonna get a very angry letter.
I'm sorry.
You sure? Talk, Scott.
Let's try this again.
No, you're right the whole time. I just muted you there. I'm just messing.
Sweet.
Still figured it out. Don't worry. This is episode...
Welcome to pregame hockey radio talk.
Listen. I called this episode 0 internally for a reason. Because you said October 26th, and I said, Scott, we have a bye week. We don't have games. We're just going to mess around on the radio, which is turning what this is into.
Well, we never had a show after we won, so we need to talk about that.
We will. We will be talking about that. We're reminiscing a ton about last season's Ignite Cup victory. It was a lot of fun.
We're having some kind of training camp. We can talk about that.
Yeah,
this is your training camp for you, Zach.
Yeah, exactly.
You're not in game shape.
Not in game shape. Did not exactly have the healthiest offseason.
Hit the right buttons.
I know. Didn't exactly have the healthiest offseason, so I apologize for that. But we're getting around to it.
I might have to send you down to Macon to get maybe some.
Wait, Macon is a send down now?
It is now.
Oh no, that's not a good sign. That's not a good sign for Macon, maybe.
But it's the beginning of hockey season. It's a little cool outside.
Mm-hmm.
And the boys are in town. And I think we got to give a big shout out to somebody tonight, which I don't know who scheduled the coaches show tonight, but I should be over at Country's. Thank you very much for feeding the boys.
That was a really bad decision by whoever scheduled it. I don't know who that would be.
I think maybe whoever scheduled it's calling us fat. Anyway, Jerome, you got the boys at Country's tonight?
Yeah, I'd like to thank Scott and Henry over at the Veterans Countries up there for taking care of the fellas for sure.
Not that Scott. Just want to be sure.
Scott Russmeyer.
Yeah, no, we're not taking that Scott for anything because we're here.
Yeah, we would have been at 7. But by the way, have you eaten at much Countries? You have.
Yes.
Zach?
What do you think?
Country?
Of course.
Yes.
I love that place.
That is a great place. And we got some good barbecue in this town, but thank you, Countries. And they're a big supporter. They're behind the scenes of supporter now. They're like, we'll feed the guys.
That's correct. No, and then really good banana pudding.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That you know what? Yeah, I was in Youngstown. The big thing up there was wedding soup, Italian wedding soup. Down here, it's banana pudding.
Yeah. And they do also have a good peanut butter pie, too. So,
all right, is the foodie segment of the show over now? Are we good?
Thank you, Countries.
Thank you for buying me time, because this is still on radio.
Just let me know when the show really starts.
Well, the show really starts right now. John Emerald Distilling Coaches Show.
New sponsor.
All season long. Well, no, it was John Emerald Distilling for the Columbus Chattahoochs. So, in terms of the Ignite Sports family.
Oh, are we allowed to mention that
is the same.
That other team?
Yeah, we are. I think we are, Scott.
Oh.
The Unite Sports and Entertainment family had the John Emerald Distilling Coaches Show, and that's now carried over here into us here with the River Dragons. I want to thank them and all they do over in Opelika, and we'll tell you a little bit more about them later on. But let's get into it. Let's start talking about these River Dragons, and more specifically to Scott's point, I guess let's talk about a little bit of last season, because obviously, fans all around riding the high from it still, enjoying being champions. We'll see a banner go up November 12th during the first home game, the 21-22 season. And Jerome, I know for you, obviously, that meant a lot. It was a unique season, a challenging season, a season like no other. I've heard plenty of people call it. What take us back to what that meant for you back on April 30th?
Well, obviously pretty proud of the guys. I mean, for how it started, how it ended, I never really thought that we would sweep Elmira 3 straight, but the guys really came to play all 3 games, and especially the last game at home. I really didn't anticipate an 8-1 game. I believe that's what the score was, if I remember correctly. Just gotta give the guys, the players, the kudos for showing up at the right times and coming together at the right time. Josh Petratonio, Austin Day, and Mac Jansen, led us kind of the whole way. Jake Schultz and Matt O'Brien and O'Day, and it was really a nice way to culminate the season and get another championship in Columbus.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, and I definitely think it was a surprising result, the 3-0 series sweep. A pleasant surprise, obviously. But when you go back and you think in that particular season, we went to Elmira. We split those games right down the middle with a couple of shootouts, 1 win, 1 loss. And then when Elmira was in Columbus, if I remember, it was a 3-game set, and we won 2 out of the 3. But the total regular season points in that particular series only went 5-4. It was the thinnest of margins. So you look, and it was very competitive all season long. Teams, they didn't seem to have each other's number one way or the other, and yet you just got into playoffs and got hot at the right time. I mean, what was it? Because that was crazy. It was good. It was crazy.
Playoff hockey is a little different than regular season hockey, and I don't know why players tend to play up or play differently in the playoffs. And we were just honed in on everything. I mean, to win consistently, you have to do all the little things right. And every time we lost, it's those little things that weren't getting taken care of that caused the loss. And in the playoffs, their hair was up, their mind was in it, and they were just got to a different level. And that's playoff hockey. And if you watch the NHL, you watch. Playoff hockey is different than regular season hockey for whatever reason. And as a coach, it's very frustrating because you do it here. That's how I've asked you to play all year long. Like I need that all year long. And anyways, Brando, happens all the time, no?
It certainly does. I mean, it's sometimes you ask yourself, why didn't you guys? What were you guys listening during the season? And then all of a sudden the playoffs comes, you flip a switch as a different team, or they understand. Maybe it's the fact it took 8 months to figure out what the system was, and finally it clicked. But I think we all in the office figure, okay, we got a good chance to make a run here. I think we were all probably looking at Carolina versus us in the finals. That's what we really wanted. I mean, and then
would have been more home games.
Would have been more home games. As important. I mean, listen, that's our rival, and there's a mutual respect there. And then for us to go out and we went on the road for those games up there, and you got to remember there wasn't anybody in the building, and it stunk.
And really, I mean, as cool as it was to play all of our home pretty much all the games at home, it's a little different. I mean, obviously you get to sleep in your own bed and blah blah all that stuff, but we didn't have those road trips to get that team together, the team continuity, and those bus trips, whether you like them or not, they tend to bring guys together with different energies and this and that. So it was a little bit different on that note as well.
Yeah, well, it absolutely was. You're right. We weren't a road team. If anybody you felt bad for was possibly Carolina, because they were quite the road team. But it was exciting to go up there. It was great to bring a championship back. It was fun last year. We had games on television, local television, which we're going to be able to announce that pretty soon again. And then to come back and win it with the fashion we did in Columbus. Did the River or the Cottonmouths, they won once at home, did they not?
Very for 04-05.
Yeah. And listen, we were in Carolina. We won it on the road. It's great to win the series, but it's even more special to win at home.
That's what you say. To be honest with you, Scott, and granted, we have a different perspective of it here. The amount of, I think, just pressure and stress and planning, I almost prefer winning it on the road, to be honest with you. But don't get me wrong, it was fun here in the Civic Center, get that loud, and it was obviously worth it in the end. But I don't know, that week leading up to Game 3, I mean, weren't you a little stressed, a little out there? Because I know I was. It was intense.
Oh yeah, there's no question, because you think about it two ways. You think one is a hockey fan, let's get this thing over with and win it. You think about two is a business operation. Geez, if we lost Friday, we'd probably get a lot of people
get
to
another home game.
And it's funny is I think the Braves got accused of that in the series with the Dodgers. I don't think anybody would play with fire that bad.
No.
And when you do that, you're asking for the hockey gods or the sports gods to show you. It
doesn't matter what sport you're in. The last game is always the toughest one. I mean, and you're up 3-1 or 3-2, and you're at home, and you don't want to give that one up for any reason.
No,
not
at
all.
You have a chance to win, you need to win.
No, not at all. And one thing I remember that obviously sticks out and is in the FPHL record book for, you'd assume, a good amount of time is that Game 2 in that series, longest game in FPHL history. It went about five or so minutes into the double OT. And I got to tell you, from my perspective, I know from a lot of the guys, probably one of the most fun bus rides to get back home. Didn't matter if it was 16, 18, however many hours it was. I mean, you win a playoff game like that, that's something special. And I mean, Jerome, you've been a part of a couple of overtime winners, but that long extended bus ride after doesn't feel as bad.
No, not at all. I mean, and again, I really think that's the one that broke the camel's back with Elmira, knowing that they were down 2-0 and losing overtime, coming down here, knowing they have to pretty much win out to make things work. So yeah, it was great. No, I remember playing a triple overtime up in Fayetteville. It wasn't a final, or it was in the playoffs, but we ended up winning it, and yeah, it makes that 7-hour or that 20-hour bus trip go a whole lot faster.
Yes, I have to believe it does. Scott, any overtime magic you remember?
Well, if I remember correct, I took that road trip and went up with Shannon and the dogs.
That's right, you did.
And
you were there.
The dogs were great company, but
wow!
I told her I'd give her a shout out. But overtime. I mean, yeah, there's been a few that the one overtime when we did the shootout before the game. That's the one that always stick out in my mind. But I think games that you're involved with, the officiating is. I was an official at the pro level for a long time, and I tell you what, the one thing you don't want to do is you can say what you want to. You do not want to call penalty in overtime, and sometimes you have to. In fact, I remember a game, Fayetteville, and Jake. I'm sorry, who's the player that was a Cottonmouth that's in the NHL now? Who's the former Cottonmouth that's NHL ref?
Pete McDougal. Yeah,
Pete McDougal had to call a penalty in overtime, and that was the end of the series, and we got police that escorted out of there. But Obviously, Pete made the right call because he's in the NHL now. I think one of the better officials.
See, different perspectives. That's what we like to bring for you here on the John Emerald Distilling Coaches Show. Tell you what, we're at the quarter of an hour. Let's take a break. Let's see if I can get behind the wheel again and navigate us safely through it. Hopefully we can. I did have a couple of studio people who use the studio every day going, hey, what the heck are you doing in here? So hopefully we're going to smooth it out for the next 45 minutes. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll have some more discussion about last year's Ignite Cup Championship win, transition it into a little bit of training camp and what's going on as we prep for the 21-22 season. After this, on the John Emerald Distilling Coaches Show, River Dragons Radio Network.
The Chattahooch's favorite place for spirits in the valley is John Emerald Distilling Company in Opelika. Conveniently located in beautiful downtown Opelika, they're open Monday through Saturday for tours, tasting, and bottle sales. Not in Opelika? No problem. From Birmingham to Columbus, there's plenty of places where John Emerald originals are sold. Check out some of their favorite recipes at johnemeralddistilling.com and give them a follow on social media at JED Spirits on Twitter and Instagram.
Vectorply is a world leader in development, manufacturing, and distribution of composite reinforcement materials for any and all projects you might have. Headquartered right here in Phoenix City, Vectorply prides itself on providing superior and timely customer service for all their customers' inquiries. No project is too big or too small for Vectorply. For more information on what they can do for you and your project, visit Vectorply.com. That's VECTORPLY.com. And get started on your next big project today.
An injury can be a game changer. That's why Houston Sports Medicine Team provides urgent ortho care, Saturday morning injury clinics during hockey season, and an emergency room at Jack Houston Memorial Hospital. An injury can be a game changer, and immediate evaluation and care can be a game changer too. For more information, go to Houston.com or call 706-324-6661.
Dressing for success is as easy as 1, 2, 3 with Wade Cleaners. Drop off your garment at any one of their 5 convenient branches or call their valet manager to pick them up. Go do something fun. Walk your dog, eat a hot fudge sundae, or go to a movie. Leave the dirty laundry to them. Pick up your professionally cleaned garments or have them delivered at no additional charge to your home or office. Yes, you too can dress for success with Wade Cleaners. Oh, and don't forget the little people as you move up in the world.
Today, more than ever, you can rely on the trustworthy technicians at Midas for your car's needs. From scheduled maintenance to brake repairs to oil changes, suspension work, and more. Our technicians are known for their work and their word that your car will be fixed in the best way possible. Stop in your neighborhood Midas today with 2 locations in Columbus. At the corner of 13th Street and Veterans, just up the road from the Columbus Civic Center, and the other off Manchester Expressway. Midas Total Car Care. Proud sponsors of the River Dragons. Trust the Midas touch.
The countdown is on. The Columbus River Dragons are back on the ice in November, raising up a championship banner in the Civic Center. Don't miss out on any of what's sure to be a historic campaign. Secure yourself an Inside Edge Club membership to see every game in the 21-22 season. Memberships are on sale now at ourdragons.com or by calling 706-507-GOAL. That's 706-507-4625. The Dragons are seeking to go back-to-back in front of a packed house every night. So get ready to get loud, Columbus. Your hockey team is back.
At Southern States Bank, the common sense bank, we're a true...
Hey, Columbus.
Welcome back in
Plasma
to
Services.
the John Emerald Distilling Coaches Show.
The cash you'll earn for your time donating plasma at BioLife adds up for the things you want. And your plasma donations
can
add
definitely is user error.
Life-changing medicine.
Listen, there is user error. I am not denying that.
Check us out at our new Columbus BioLife location.
Something out of order
donors can earn up to $300 in their first 5 plasma donations at BioLife.
I don't know, but we're
Visit
back. We're back here. We're good to go. John Emerald Distilling Coaches Show here on this Tuesday, October 26th, every Tuesday, 6 to 7 p.m. throughout the hockey season. We'll be bringing you the latest with all things River Dragons, talking with the head coach, Jerome Bichard. We're talking with a number of different players throughout the year as well. And before we get to the players and talking about training camp, just sort of finishing out our thoughts on last season, not only winning the championship, but I think just everything that went along with it. And for me, Scott, I'll bring it to you first. When you were talking about, some of the things that we did during the season, having road games on our YouTube channel and, expanding coverage and doing all this stuff, it's really fascinating. We consider that, so many people might have seen, the 2021 season as such a weird year and you can only have so many people in, masks and all this sort of stuff. But, all things considered, having that season still allowed the River Dragons to grow in ways that, you might not have expected and in ways that will be beneficial and you can build on moving forward, right?
Oh, no question about it. I mean, on the ice, you had your certain challenges, and Jerome can speak to those. But off the ice, we had challenges too. But in the same token, we were able to experiment with some things. Our YouTube video got phenomenally better. We've switched, and then obviously having the hoots too, is that we were able to switch to number of cameras. I think we're up to 3 now, and then you've got some other things planned. And then the agreement we made with WTBM and Bounce TV was to televise those games, and those are a huge hit. We understand all over the valley, and so and then obviously our partnership with PMB and Jordan Communication. Those things just continue to grow, and I don't know, had we not had been in the pandemic, if we would have fast tracked some of those things, and it leads even to more and more. And I don't know if we've officially announced the TV deal with the stations. I won't say anything more.
Yeah, not yet. It's in the pipeline and it's real close.
Yeah,
don't worry.
So. But I think that, and then obviously, how do you deliver your product to a crowd that you have 1,500 seats, but if the pods are used by 2 people where 3 should have been there, you lose a seat. I take my hat off to the group family for taking it. I mean, listen, it's not a lie. It's no secret that financially it was not a good year, but he pushed through and gave the boys a chance to play and. On ice, it came through for him.
Yeah, it definitely did. And, you mentioned fast tracking a couple of things and, trying to make it as immersive as possible. It's because, there's a few places and a few sports and leagues where you almost feel like the in-home entertainment, the TV product is better. And not to say we were trying to make it better than coming to the Civic Center. We definitely want people out at the Civic Center. We want a loud building. We want these guys to feel supported. But I think, trying certain elements like that or, trying to adapt certain things and frankly, taking risks made it a lot of fun, made it definitely an interesting and, unforgettable year, obviously for a number of reasons. So yeah, it was definitely something very exciting and very cool to be a part of for sure. Jerome, any final thoughts, remembrance before we start turning the page over to 21-22 here?
No, it's just definitely a challenging year for everybody, fans, office staff, players, but got to take our hats off to everybody. We fought through it and won a championship, and now ready to turn the page and get rolling.
That's right. 2021-22 technically for the Federal Prospects Hockey League starts this weekend. However, your Columbus River Dragons are on bye for the first weekend, and the reason why you're going to hear things about bye weekends and off days is because it is a 7-team league right now. It's been a unfortunately tumultuous time, but obviously the pandemic's had a hand in that, from when the River Dragons started to being a 10-team league to going down to a 4-team league with many opting out for COVID reasons, obviously, and then moving it in, seeing some people come out of their hibernation, if you will, others saying, hey, they couldn't, or they passed, or in some cases, an absorption of a city from a different league, which is a whole wild thing I'm sure we'll get into near the end of the show. But a 7-team league now, mostly centered northeast to south. The Midwest footprint has become Port Huron, which is our first opponent, but that's on November 5th. So having this bye week, it's a little weird, I guess, when you look at the grand picture of it. But
no, we'll take it.
Yeah, we'll take it. But Jerome, I think for you, it doesn't really feel like a bye week. It just feels like the later start to the season. It's just opening day.
Yeah, no, and with how things have kind of panned out as far as players, recruitments, other leagues, everything's kind of been a little jacked up as far as Mr. COVID. Mr. COVID is still kind of showing his head in hockey, I guess, when it comes down to, and it really comes down to the SPHL East Coast League kind of started a week and a half ago or 2 weeks ago, and they usually are staggered where the East Coast League, NHL starts, American League starts, East Coast League, SPHL, and us and the SPHL are, tend to be fairly close kind of thing. And with the East Coast League and the SPHL going at the same time, kind of lack of players. And then you throw in the fact that, with NCAA rules, that all NCAA athletes got an extra year of competition or eligibility. You just think of numbers-wise. On a normal year, I don't know how many D1 programs there are, 50?
It's close to 60 now. I think it's 58 or 59.
All right, so you got 60 D1 programs, maybe 100 D3 programs. That might be high. I don't know, but you average two to five seniors a year. So just say two. That's
close to 300 players.
300 players that aren't turning pro anywhere, and not all of them will, and some of them won't be here or whatever. But so a little bit of a short training camp, I guess, when it comes down to it. Not short in days, but short as players go, and just waiting for some guys to move sideways that are in the SPHL, and we'll probably get a couple of those guys back, and there's some guys that we probably won't. But it's as far as that bye week, it's kind of nice to have because we're a little short staffed right now.
Yeah, it'll be very very needed, and the time allowed will be very much spent wisely. But you brought up the point about the NCAA. Obviously, the extra year prevents more people in the pro player pool. Then obviously there's still some border restrictions, especially when you're talking about Europe and European players. But here's what I find interesting too, and it's a little bit off topic for us, but college into pro, choked off the pipeline a little bit. But remember, college into juniors also is going to get affected as well. And I'm almost wondering if this 1 year, a lot of people are thinking, it's going to be a 1 year thing, right?
No,
maybe on our end it will.
No, it has a 2 or 3 year effect because the kids that are coming from junior or wherever going into college, I mean, those 2 or 3 seniors that didn't go out just took that freshman's spot.
Yeah.
Type thing, and that freshman isn't going to get another year,
right? Unless he redshirts or something.
They might get redshirted or something like that. But for the most part, it's gonna affect for 2 or 3 years down the road.
I mean, Scott, you've worked down in the depths and the catacombs of USA Hockey, knowing the ins and outs of that. I mean, something like this. Obviously,
and then you go back to the juniors.
Yeah,
the juniors don't get an extra year. I mean, they didn't get an extra year. A lot of the junior kids just got kind of.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah.
So
that's it. Some of them didn't play.
So in your eyes, I mean, asking you to think back on how USA Hockey kind of handles this. I mean, that player pipeline usually smooth through the passage of time, but when the passage of time stops for whatever reason, it kind of creates some issues, doesn't it?
Well, I think it did. I think, one of the issues is nobody even thought this through. Is nobody sitting here thinking, hey, what happens if we can't play hockey for a year? And so, it's as Jerome says, I don't see this as being a 1 year issue. I think you're clogged for the next 3 or 4 years with everything that goes on, and so it's just something that's unfortunate. You hope that you can catch up if there's such a thing in the development of the players and the opportunities to play.
Yeah, and I think too, it is a testament to the River Dragons, staff and the organization for how many players had ties to the River Dragons that are now currently up, in the upper leagues. And we've actually got a couple of guys that are playing on East Coast teams. And we'll review, all those guys a little bit later on in the show. But, you're usually very excited, very happy to see how many guys are up there. But right now, maybe 1 or 2 wouldn't hurt, huh?
Yeah, no. I mean, and, as a coach, you're always proud of your guys to get that opportunity and go. I think the biggest concern on my part is making sure those guys don't get taken advantage of. They're there. They're going to practice every day. They're, go to the games, they get scratched. They drive on the bus for 7 hours. They go out for warm-up, and they get scratched. Like, I mean, to me, as a coach, one, I don't understand at the level we're at. We're not in the NHL. Why I'm dressing 20 guys unless I got 1 or 2 guys, like, for warm-up. Like,
you need an active rotation.
I've never done that. I mean, I got my 18-man roster. Here's my guys. You're warming up. I don't take 2 extra guys to warm up and scratch 2 guys. And apparently that's what they do in the SPHL.
Well, I think it's wrong. I mean, first of all, you're preventing if that number 19 or 20 player or 21, 22, whatever the roster is. For him sitting in the stands, I understand wanting to have backups in case guys get hurt or something like that, but give the kid an opportunity to play. And you're right. Why dress him, then pull him?
Right. No, I mean, especially if you're going on an 8-hour road trip and, if you haven't made a decision on what your lineup is by then, I mean, I would never take a guy on the road. I mean, at the end of the day, a guy gets hurt during the game, that guy can't get the rest anyway. So, I mean, I just don't understand. So, but that's neither here nor there, and I guess everybody does things a little differently, and that's fine too. I mean, if they want to, I guess if you want to give a player the experience of what it is to be in the NHL, because I'm pretty sure that happens quite a bit, not knowing who's going to be healthy or what, and then it gets to the point where, to me as a coach, that's almost playing mind games with players, and I'm just not a big fan of mind games. I'm like, I want to be as honest as I possibly can. I may have some decisions to make, but I mean, I need to be a big man and make that decision and move on and be honest with that player no matter what.
Well, we're at the bottom of the hour here, guys. Let's go ahead. Let's take another break. When we come back, we're going to talk some more about the players that are up. We'll talk about our players that are in, because we have more than a handful of commitments. Guys that are coming saying, hey, I'm going to be River Dragons. Plus, obviously, guys in camp right now, getting some skates in, getting familiar with the team. And somewhere out of all of this, in about 10 or so days, you're going to know your River Dragons squad, because, heck, it's even fluid for us. But it's going to be fun to talk about and really celebrate a lot of the guys who have moved up to pretty high levels. We'll talk about all of them and more after this John Emerald Distilling Coaches Show on the River Dragons Radio Network.
At Southern States Bank, the Common Sense Bank, we're a true community bank that supports the places we serve. Our people live, work, and play in your community, and you will find us cheering for the River Dragons right alongside you in the stands. With convenient locations throughout Alabama and Georgia, we're never too far away to handle any of your financial concerns. Call, click, or come by and see how we can help you make sense out of your banking. Visit us online at southernstatesbank.net. Southern States Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender. NMLS number 410611.
Hey Columbus, have you heard of BioLife Plasma Services? It adds up. Here's how. The cash you'll earn for your time donating plasma at BioLife adds up for the things you want. And your plasma donations can add up over time to create life-changing medicine for people with rare diseases. Stop in and check us out at our new Columbus BioLife location. New donors can earn up to $300 in their first 5 plasma donations at BioLife. Visit BioLifeAddsUp.com to schedule an appointment today.
Strength, speed, and versatility. A winning combination on, off, and in the field. At SunSouth, that's exactly what you get with quality John Deere equipment, affordably priced and ready to tackle projects on your property. Like the John Deere 5 Series tractors with discounts up to $3,500. And don't forget to service your John Deere Gator at SunSouth with free pickup and delivery packages. Come see us at your neighborhood SunSouth. Equipment for those that do.
Some restrictions apply. See dealer for details. Offers expire October 31st, 2021.
Vectorply is a world leader in development, manufacturing, and distribution of composite reinforcement materials for any and all projects you might have. Headquartered right here in Phoenix City, Vectorply prides itself on providing superior and timely customer service for all their customers' inquiries. No project is too big or too small for Vectorply. For more information on what they can do for you and your project, visit Vectorply.com. That's VECTORPLY.com and get started on your next big project today.
Let Shredaway, a division of the Overbee Company, take care of all your document shredding needs. We can design a custom shredding program for your business today. No need to purchase equipment, no maintenance expenses, no need to prepare records for destruction, increase employee productivity, increase security. No worry. Was it really destroyed? Right now, all new customers can receive 10% off. Shredaway, a division of the Overbee Company, locally owned and operated in downtown Columbus. That's Shredaway, 706-577-9668.
The countdown is on. The Columbus River Dragons are back on the ice in November, raising up a championship banner in the Civic Center. Don't miss out on any of what's sure to be a historic campaign. Secure yourself an Inside Edge Club membership to see every game in the 21-22 season. Memberships are on sale now at ourdragons.com or by calling 706-507-GOAL. That's 706-507-4625. The Dragons are seeking to go back-to-back in front of a packed house every night. So get ready to get loud, Columbus. Your hockey team is back.
It's about to get crazy. It's about to go down. It's about to get crazy.
Welcome back in. John Emerald Distilling Coaches Show on the Columbus River Dragons Radio Network. Smooth. All right. I think we got that one straight. Again, it's episode 0 here. A little preseason work, getting ourselves ready for the 21-22 season. I'm Zach DeBozart, VP of Communications. He's the head coach, Jerome Boom Boom Bichard. And, of course, GM Scott Brand is here in the building with us as well. Guys, we were talking about the SPHL and some of the guys we have up there, and the River Dragons really have a pretty good footprint when it comes to guys being elevated to levels even above that. Just quickly, if I can mention a couple here.
You can.
Thank you. I appreciate the permission. 3 guys have River Dragons ties that are currently skating in the ECHL right now. Shout out Wyatt Trumbley from the first year. He's with Tulsa and the Tulsa Oilers. Then the Wichita Thunder.
Whoa. He's with Tulsa?
That's right.
I thought he was in Fayetteville.
Yeah, no. Wyatt Trumbley made the jump all the way to Tulsa.
Oh, nice.
Then you've got Ivan Bondarenko, 2-year pro here, made the Wichita Thunder lineup on a PTO. And then here's one, Garrett Sargis, going to the Utah Grizzlies. A lot of guys out west in, I believe it's called the Mountain Division. So that's going to be a pretty fun division there.
I didn't know about Sarge either. Oh, nice.
So a couple of guys in the ECHL, then more than a handful. Obviously, I think a lot of people sort of made the association. There was a lot of Roanoke blood in last year's team. Well, Mac Jansen, CJ Stubbs, Matt O'Day, they're back in Roanoke, obviously. But, I mean, you got guys like, in Pensacola, you look MJ Graham, Seth Enser, and Preston Kugler are now at the Ice Flyers. Just off the top of my head, too, you got Quad City, Connor Fries, Jay Krupp that are there. And I believe we ran a stat at one point in camps. It was 9 out of the 11 SPHL teams had at least a River Dragon in it. I think it's since been whittled down to about 7, but still, I mean, the footprint's there. It just shows how good the River Dragons are at helping guys find that next level.
Yeah, we were, obviously we had a pretty strong team last year, and guys are still there and they're doing well, and you got to take our hats off, and we found some really good players, and we got some big holes to fill, but I think we got a good start with that, and we'll see what happens.
I don't have my cheat sheet in front of me, but I do know that we were looking, Jerome, you and I, about guys we had in camp, guys we had out, in ECHL, SPHL, wherever it might be. Plus, we got 2 guys who are still over in Europe playing that we still technically have rights to by league rules. But I mean, the people out are actually outnumbering the people in, which kind of creates the little short-handed situation you're talking about earlier.
I want to think, I think the list is about 15 or 16 guys that are elsewhere, and I think right now. We skated the last couple of days. We had, I think, 11, 12 skaters and 2 goalies, so 14. So we're a little short-staffed, but they're getting a lot of extra tutelage from the coach.
Ice time.
Yeah, ice time. I mean, it's good. And
ice time, FaceTime.
Well, just it gives me a little bit more time to spend on little things. Like, I mean, in between reps, I can talk and we can kind of break down some things, give them a little bit of a rest, and then get back into high tempo, and then slow it down again and explain a different area of the game: defensive zone coverage, neutral zone regroups, offensive stuff type thing. So, I mean, on that note, it's kind of good but at the same time, I'd like to have a few more bodies in here so we could have a little bit of a scrimmage and see when, because right now a lot of it is flow. We are doing some 5-on-5 stuff, but not a whole lot.
Yeah, and you're going to see it too. I mean, there still is the trickle down happening because the SPHL is only, I think, right now in week number 2 of the season. So you're going to have that. Plus, I mean, just as things get closer on to camp, you're going to see guys signing on and, movement happening, be it via trades, be it via, hey, this guy says he's going here now and he's going there. So there's still going to be a lot. And again, it's part of the reason why, it's so fluid, and unfortunately haven't seen a lot. I know I've been talked to by, some of the media types, like, shout out to Jonathan Hoppy over at TVM and Rex and Jack over at RBL, the TV sports guys. They've all 3 of them have come up to me and said, hey, what's going on? It seems like we don't have as many guys, and haven't heard much news. And it's like, well, everything's fluid. Everything's kind of thrown out of whack. It's not a traditional year with a start.
No news is good news.
I guess that is one way to look at it. But, we did have a couple of guys who said they were in. And first and foremost, starting up at the top, your captain, Josh Petrantonio, is back. And then on the defensive side, you got your goaltender between the pipes, Jared Rutledge. I think 2 guys very key, obviously, to build around when you're talking about 21-22, right?
Yeah, you know what? Obviously, Rutsy came in last year and really solidified that number 1 spot. And, he grew. And I don't know exactly what I always knew he had what it took as far as his technicality and this and that. But just like anything else, sports is all about mind. If you're not in a good frame of mind for whatever reason, I mean, this and that. And I think Rutsy really found that mental part of his game, and he stood tall last year, and he was one of the big reasons. I'm
going to say the gear helped him too. Probably helped him mentally as well. But I think fans between year 1 and year 2 might have noticed Rutledge got a bit of a makeover, like black and red pads that he had now. Those look pretty sharp out there.
Yeah,
I think that helped.
Well,
him
you need
state.
to look good to play good, I guess, when it comes down to it. But I mean, when it comes down to it, he really solidified himself last year, and he was spot on. He wasn't perfect by all means every game, but he gave us an opportunity to win every night. So big start with Rutsy. Petro, I mean, again, Petro came in, didn't have a great outstanding total year, but he's one of the guys that really put it together in the playoffs, and him and Austin Day and Mac Jansen were just knockout in the playoffs.
Yeah, that was an absurd line. And really, what was it, the first 3 goals of Game 3, I think, came from that line. It was Jansen twice and then Dozer. They were just unbelievable together.
Yeah, no, so you know what? And then we got Austin Day back, and Daisy's one of those guys that can just put the puck in the net. He needs a little help on the with his line mates to help get him the puck or whatever, but he's just got that knack and goes to the net. So those guys are here in camp. I would anticipate Jay Krupp and MJ Gray being here at some point in the near future, but that'll come when it comes down to it, and that's kind of our core guys that are back. It kind of goes back to the first year a little bit with the core. Mm-hmm. And then some of the new guys that came in, we have Dalton Anderson and Jake Huss. Don't know a whole lot about them. I think both D3 players, skating the last couple of days. They skate well, they shoot well. Kind of see what happens when people are flying around and trying to hit them and take the puck away from them. But they're here. Jagger Williamson is back, and he looks really good. I think 2 days tomorrow is the day that 2 years ago that he broke his leg.
Yesterday, yeah. 2 days yesterday.
So he looks good. He's still he will be where he needs to be. Being on the ice every day, we got to kind of evaluate that ankle and make sure that he doesn't overdo things, and we've been kind of monitoring him there. Hunter Bersani, one of our COVID replacement players from last year, good pickup, 6'2", from Dallas, Texas, I believe, or somewhere in Texas. I think Dallas.
Scored a couple of goals in that weekend against Port
Scored a couple
Huron.
goals. He's a big guy, big body. He's here. He looks good. Noah Doyle, new defenseman right out of junior. Looks pretty serviceable. We got a big fellow from Quebec, 6'6", Danny Plord. Need a little bit of work on him.
And Plord was one that he was actually in Pensacola.
He was in Pensacola for a little bit
at the start here.
Yeah, he was in Pensacola. He needs a little bit of work. On puck moving his feet for a big man. Skates all right, but he needs to be a little bit stronger on some things. But
and for everybody listening, don't worry.
Richie Pinkowski got in yesterday, or today. He was in Birmingham's camp type thing. So, Oren Hergott and Tommy Maldonado, former Cottonmouth.
Yeah, I was joking around with Oren, and I said, "Hey, Oren, I see on the board third line left wing right now," and he's like, he was kind of like trying to play it off. I'm like, first game's on the road, and he was demanding a pretty high sum to travel. So I don't know if you can meet that, Jerome.
Well, you know what, those guys would be really good for at home if we needed guys, and they wanted to come out and get some ice time. So
good character guys.
First of all, Oren can still play.
Yeah.
The next question is,
we saw an overtime winner last season.
I say, if you're Oren, the last game he played, I think he got the game-winning overtime goal, and he's like, I got to leave on a high note.
No, he definitely could still play.
What about Boom Boom? Can he still play?
Oh boy. Check. You can anybody that wants to come check how good I am or still am. You can come watch Thursday night at 9:00. The Chal, our men's league.
You're still playing in the A League, right?
Still in the A League. Yeah,
hey, that's the top of the game.
I think I was one of the first picks this time. I wasn't like the sixth pick. So
Oren goes first, and then what? You're up there.
Yeah.
It depends if you want to build for skill or grit. That's really what it is.
The legs aren't there. The lungs are good. The lungs and the head is still there. The legs are not there. So
it's always a first to go, isn't it?
You never know. I'd have to get cleared from my doctor to play.
Well, we're
got defibrillators in the building, don't they?
Yeah.
Well, look, we're here having fun, but I mean, you mentioned a bunch of guys, Jerome, and as we get closer to it, I mean, really, the league's roster deadline comes up this week because, as we said, the league starts this week, even though the River Dragons are on bye, which means our season just starts later. It's not it's not a traditional bye week. Like the NFL doesn't have a week one team starting on bye. That's why it's so different. It's not exactly
so. If there's anybody out there that is a web browser and is looking on the Columbus River Dragons roster, and when they only see like 12 guys on Thursday,
yeah, you don't got to worry.
Just relax. We'll be fine.
We get a little bonus time, which is definitely nice. And honestly, you can kind of see the roster right now, and you'll see all the guys that are up there in the SPHL or a few cases in the ECHL. We wish all those guys the best, and happy we had a little part in their development as they moved up. Let's take a break. When we come back, we close out tonight's show, taking a look at that upcoming schedule. River Dragons open up in Port Huron on November 5th. Talk about those games a little bit and the rest of the league after this on the Columbus River Dragons Radio Network.
The Chattahooch's favorite place for spirits in the valley is John Emerald Distilling Company in Opelika. Conveniently located in beautiful downtown Opelika, they're open Monday through Saturday for tours, tasting, and bottle sales. Not in Opelika? No problem. From Birmingham to Columbus, there's plenty of places where John Emerald originals are sold. Check out some of their favorite recipes at johnemeralddistilling.com and give them a follow on social media at JED Spirits on Twitter and Instagram.
Dressing for success is as easy as 1, 2, 3 with Wade Cleaners. Drop off your garment at any one of their 5 convenient branches or call their valet manager to pick them up. Go do something fun. Walk your dog, eat a hot fudge sundae, or go to a movie. Leave the dirty laundry to them. Pick up your professionally cleaned garments or have them delivered at no additional charge to your home or office. Yes, you too can dress for success with Wade Cleaners. Oh, and don't forget the little people, as you move up in the world.
At Southern States Bank, the Common Sense Bank, we're a true community bank that supports the places we serve. Our people live, work, and play in your community. And you will find us cheering for the River Dragons right alongside you in the stands. With convenient locations throughout Alabama and Georgia, we're never too far away to handle any of your financial concerns. Call, click, or come by and see how we can help you make sense out of your banking. Visit us online at southernstatesbank.net. Southern States Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender. NMLS number 410611.
Hey Columbus, have you heard of BioLife Plasma Services? It adds up. Here's how. The cash you'll earn for your time donating plasma at BioLife adds up for the things you want. And your plasma donations can add up over time to create life-changing medicine for people with rare diseases. Stop in and check us out at our new Columbus BioLife location. New donors can earn up to $300 in their first 5 plasma donations at BioLife. Visit biolifeaddsup.com to schedule an appointment today.
Progress. It's the belief that your life should be easier, that life should be fun, and that the best is yet to come. With us, you have a provider who pours everything into bringing progress home. And it's not just some big name in a faraway glass tower. That provider is here. That provider is Beam. With local service and faster internet, the only place you're going is forward. And we're taking you there. Progress. Your Beam. Your way.
The countdown is on. The Columbus River Dragons are back on the ice in November, raising up a championship banner in the Civic Center. Don't miss out on any of what's sure to be a historic campaign. Secure yourself an Inside Edge Club membership to see every game in the 21-22 season. Memberships are on sale now at ourdragons.com or by calling 706-507-GOAL. That's 706-507-4625. The Dragons are seeking to go back-to-back in front of a packed house every night. So get ready to get loud, Columbus. Your hockey team is back.
And welcome back in one final time to the John Emerald Distilling Coaches Show here on the River Dragons Radio Network. I'm Zach DeBozart. Scott Brand already has a comment lined up.
Are you comfortable with the airplane now? Or are we going to avoid any more crashes?
I was definitely better in the second half.
You've already thrown Brian Thomas under the bus.
Well, I wasn't. No, I didn't throw him under the bus.
This is even his studio.
It's not his studio. That's why I didn't throw him under the bus.
The Sports Vision guys, right? Or
listen, there was a lot.
Bear O'Brien. You're throwing Bear O'Brien. Nobody tosses Bear O'Brien.
Scott, there was a lot of user error today. I can safely admit that because it's been about 6-7 months since I've operated this. But it's like a bike. You fall off once. All right, fine. We're back. We're good. We got it. GM Scott Brand right there. Head coach Jerome Boom Boom Bichard here with us as well. Got a couple of minutes left in the show. We've been talking all about whole sorts of things, getting ready for the upcoming season, 21-22. Obviously, the River Dragons with the bye weekend to start, a little strange, but just means some extra time to build out the roster, get a little extra time in training camp, get the team together, and hopefully come out of the gates flying because they will open the season on November 5th against the Port Huron Prowlers. And the Prowlers, they start their season on the road in Danbury. So this is a home opener for Port Huron. I think it's going to be a pretty good time. Scott, obviously you and I have a lot of ties up to Michigan. We know that arena has actually been through some upgrades recently. And Port Huron, when they get the people out there, when you consider it's been a long time for them to have an unrestricted crowd, which I don't even know if they do have an unrestricted crowd, but they're going to come out and support the Prowlers that weekend. It's going to be a pretty loud building, I would think.
Well, I hope so. I mean, listen, I think Port Huron's been a place that has underperformed in terms of its fans. It's a hockey town. It's considered a suburb of Detroit. In all honesty, they don't have their own television station, which kind of bites for them. You're competing with is it Sarnia across the
Sarnia Sting OHL team across
the river. And I've been to their building. They got a real nice building there, and it's. The beer's a little bit better in Canada. No offense, but it's too bad because I think that's a great hockey market. But I think is it Matt Graham up there now is running the ship, and they've hired another marketing guy, and so hopefully you're going to start to see some crowds there because that could be a tough building to play in. Yeah. It's a nice. To me, that's a perfect Federal Hockey League's building that. And
they just got the Palace seats, too, from the old Detroit Pistons place. They, I guess, auctioned off the seats or whatever, and they're in McMorran now, and it's all like, first of all all black seats compared to the wooden seats they had makes it look a little bit more like, I don't know what the psychological term is, but it just looks better. It looks more full with those black seats in there. And then those are just, they're comfy. They feel good. I know, because I was there last year.
Fall asleep.
It was a good time. But
and you're gonna have a color guy up there.
I do believe I will. You'll be joining me for that trip, and we might have one or two other announcements regarding that trip. You have to pay attention.
Big announcements
later on in the week on social media. C_River Dragons on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and of course on the website rdragons.com. And then the home opener is November 12th, November 13th. We've got the banner being raised November 12th. They have a whole bunch of promotions again that'll be coming out later on this week. But the Carolina Thunderbirds are going to be in town, and Scott, you as a wrestling aficionado, I think will appreciate this, because obviously there's plenty of back and forth between the teams, and because it's called the Ignite Cup versus the Commissioner's Cup, the very famous picture, the two wrestlers each holding up their belts to each other. People have taken that to meme that and think that's the 21-22 FPHL seasons, Carolina and Columbus going at it like that. And, it helps. We're about to play each other about 15, 16 times. So you talked about rivalry. It's set up to be a big one right away.
Oh, and just in case anybody's wondering, in wrestling you have faces who are the good guys and heels.
Okay.
We're the heels. We're bringing steel chairs. We'll use them.
No holier than thou. We're the bad guys. That's what you're saying.
Absolutely.
Huh?
You always want to be the heel. They have more fun. And
Jerome, you okay being the bad guys this year, I guess?
Yep. I like being bad.
But that's going to be a different rivalry now. They got a different coach.
Yep.
Who is their coach?
Garrett Rutledge. No relation.
Yes, no relation.
We scoured the internet pretty deep to try and find some sort of connection between Garrett and Jared Rutledge, and there was not.
And congratulations to Andre Nietzsche, who's now with the Florida Panthers organization.
Yeah,
and,
European scout out there.
So you'll see a big influx of Europeans down there, and
they already have.
The Thunderbirds have been picked apart too. They some of their top line guys have been swooped up and doing well.
They have been. Everybody's had that sort of effort. It's going to make for a very different looking FPHL this year. Maybe not necessarily better or worse, but it's going to be different than what you saw. More teams and the influx of players being how it is should be very different, very interesting for sure. Well, as we mentioned, the season starts up October 29th, 3 games on that Friday and Saturday, and the series are as such. Port Huron is at Danbury, so that's the River Dragons' first opponent. They're on the road on the Northeast, taking on the Danbury Hat-Tricks. Then you got a Battle of New York, but Elmira not involved because of obvious situations there. But the new team, the Binghamton Black Bears, they are at the Watertown Wolves, and then the Delaware Thunder will be at the Carolina Thunderbirds. That's at the Winston-Salem Fairgrounds Annex for a 2-game set there. Friday's games continue on into Saturday, just with different times, and then November 5th, that's when your River Dragons start up their 21-22 campaign again, taking on the Port Huron Prowlers in a 2-game set Friday and Saturday at the McMorran Arena. We got a couple of minutes left, and just talking about the rest of the league, the city of Danbury has gotten a little more notoriety. And Jerome, I know you have a little bit of connections to Danbury. You spent a little bit of time there, but if anybody been paying attention,
there's a federal prison there, isn't there?
If you'd been paying attention to the hockey world on Netflix. We can get to the federal prison part, sure, but was it True Crime and Penalties? The Danbury Trasher story came out. Anybody here get a chance to watch that?
Yes,
because that was nuts.
I haven't watched it. I've been meaning to. Been pretty hectic.
Scott, I'm pretty sure you lived it, right? Were you that part of the UHL or no?
I actually helped out that year with them. I think that listen. The guy kept hockey going. You can. There are bad people in every sport. Some people are bad, and some people just have too much money on their hands, and
they're lawful, chaotic, whatever it's called.
But those 20 guys got paid very well.
Or chaotic
job,
good, whatever it's called.
But for what you say about the Federal Hockey League, and some of the things that we do and shoot ourselves in the foot, the United Hockey League, and I know Richard Brochelle. I mean, it was worse than herding cats. It was like herding cats who had machine guns, between Fort Wayne and Muskegon and Quad City and the Trashers and everybody else. I mean, it again, some very passionate owners that probably got way too involved.
Yeah. Jerome, I know you said you didn't watch it, but obviously your ties to Danbury, and you know that city can get pretty hockey ravenous pretty quick, can't it?
Yeah, well, you know what? did play in New Haven for a little bit. It's not quite there, but it's crazy. I know 2 or 3 people that played on that team.
That's Rasher's team, yeah.
Carlisle Lewis actually lives in town still. He was there. The Omacholi brothers both played.
Correct me if I'm wrong. The guy called the Nigerian Nightmare on that. I cannot remember how to pronounce his name.
Roman Endur.
Endur, that's right, yeah.
Endur, yeah.
Didn't he play here for?
He played here too.
Yeah. So
no, we had a really tough team with the Cottonmouths, and both those guys were there, and it was kind of crazy, and they threw money around like it was going out of style, and they had one heck of a tough hockey team.
Yeah, they definitely did. It was a lot of fun. It was on Netflix. One of the things that came out, and it got the city of Danbury a little recognition, which I thought was pretty cool. All right, guys, that'll do it. That's the end of episode 0. Thanks for joining along for the ride. Sorry it was a little bumpy ride at the start. We got it figured out, and we'll be good for episode 1 coming up next week. Again, Tuesday, same time, same place, here on the Radio Network, 6 to 7 p.m. For Scott and Jerome, I'm Zach. Have a good one, everybody. We will see you next week for another edition of the John Emerald Distilling Coaches Show to get ready for that season opener in Port Huron. Have a good night.
You've been listening to the John Emerald Distilling Coaches Show on the Columbus River Dragons Radio Network. Tonight's show was brought to you by John Emerald Distilling, Southern States Bank, BioLife Plasma, Midas Total Car Care, Vector Ply, and PMB Broadcasting. All rights to this broadcast are reserved for the private use of our audience. Any reproduction, retransmission, or other distribution of the descriptions or accounts of the show may not take place without the express written consent of Ignite Sports and Entertainment and PMB Broadcasting. This has been a presentation of the Columbus River Dragons Hockey Club.